Thank you very much. Welcome back to Off the Record, live from Studio C on a Friday morning before the Supreme Court makes a decision on some of these stories. We have to put that in perspective. But first of all, let me thank my friend Chuck Stokes for sitting over here so that my lovely bride and I could get some R&R. You did a great job, man.
Well, thank you. Everybody deserves a little R&R.
There you go. Well, yes, I agree with that totally. All right, let's talk about what happened this week. A couple of candidates, the wanted to be governor, may not make it.
Republican candidate for governor James Craig tried to launch his campaign on Belle Isle last September. But from the opening bell, well, that campaign was troubled. Here, protesters surrounded the podium as Mr. Craig tried to announce, but they blocked him from making that announcement. He quickly found, however, another quieter venue.
My name is James Craig, and I'm running to be your governor.
But little did Mr. Craig know last year when he was interviewed on this Ingham County farm that his campaign would eventually implode, going through 3 campaign managers, raising very little money, and then this. The state appellate court this week has ruled he did not turn in enough 15,000 valid petition signatures to earn a place on the statewide ballot. The court also blocked Perry Johnson, another Republican candidate for governor, from pouring his millions of dollars into the race because he too failed to file enough valid names. This Republican consultant assesses the impact of all this on what's left of the Republican race for governor.
James Craig had the highest name ID in the top standing in the polls, and Perry Johnson had a lot of money. So that's 2 big players taken out. Yeah, I still find it unfathomable how 2 serious candidates were so cavalier about their ballot access.
The courts also tossed out the candidacy of Michael Markey for governor. And candidate Donna Brandenburg is asking the state Supreme Court to put her on the ballot. But the betting money in town is that the state's highest court will not place on the ballot Mr. Craig, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Markey, and Ms. Brandenburg, which leaves candidates Rinke, Dixon, Kelly, Saldano, and Rebant in the Republican primary, August 2.
So first there were 10, and now there are 5, maybe, Ben.
Yeah, they winnowed down that field pretty quickly, and you know, we're waiting on the Supreme Court, as you mentioned. Hopefully that comes within the next couple hours. But yeah, it's interesting to see this many candidates eliminated from the ballot. I think we threw around the word unprecedented more times than I've heard in our newsroom last week when this came down. And you know, the arguments before the court were not convincing to the Court of Appeals. So we'll see if the Supreme Court wants to decide with the lower courts and just kind of let this thing ride.
Yeah, I think this is, you know, as Ben said, you know, it seems as though everything's a little unprecedented lately, but this goes in line with that trend. As your piece mentioned, the 2 essentially front runners, the one with the most name ID and the most money, are just non-factors at this juncture.
Absolutely astounding.
Yeah, you know, no one would have predicted this even a month ago, right? No. You know, they turned in signatures, and you know, this situation has really rocked the governor's race. You know, we're starting to see Tudor Dixon come forward as kind of the heir apparent for a lot of these establishment Republicans, and she also earned the Right to Life of Michigan endorsement this week. So this has really reshaped the field of the GOP race, and it remains to be seen exactly how much it will impact the primary overall. I think it kind of depends on what the candidates ultimately decide to do once the Supreme Court decision comes down. Will they accept those results, maybe endorse another candidate, or will they continue to push back on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a potential political disaster. We don't know how it's going to end up, as Lauren said. But when you look at this coming out the gate, you just say, my gracious, I can't remember ever seeing anything like this in the state of Michigan. And then you have to raise the question about, you know, campaign ads where Perry Johnson says, I'm the quality guru. Well, it starts to say, okay, well, what's the real definition of quality if indeed this is indicative of how a campaign's run? And then you think about the old Harry Truman. The buck stops at your desk. Ultimate responsibility for your campaign is the candidate. You can blame all kinds of people, but the courts so far aren't buying it. Will they eventually have to run as write-in candidates? I mean, that's an awfully high bar to do. That's a heavy lift in a state this big. But we'll see. It's not over until it's over. As you said, Tudor Dixon, she's getting a nice bump. She's getting money from the DeVos campaign, and Right to Life is giving their endorsement. So she's got some legs right now, even though in terms of the polling, she wasn't the leader going into all of this, but this could quickly change.
Well, for the people that are left standing, taking the big shooter who has the most money and the one who is going to do quite well in Detroit, do we concede that point, Chuck?
Yes.
Okay, if you take those two factors out of this race, this is a whole new ballgame. This is new ground to be plowed.
It certainly is, and and as the other two have mentioned, that Tudor Dixon is really starting to try to pull away from all of this pack. The polling is not there, but with DeVos money behind her now and the endorsement
none of which we've seen yet.
Not yet. But there was a pledge on a radio program that the DeVos family was going to back Tudor Dixon, and with that in mind, the Right to Life endorsement, as we're probably going to talk about, there's still eyes on whether Trump is going to endorse in this race. He's already name-dropped Tudor Dixon. So, I mean, the stage is being set for that endorsement, too. We'll really see.
I think it's fair to say, though, that there's a clearer path to victory for these other candidates as well than there was prior. Taking those two names out of contention, and in addition, whittling the field, making it so these debate stages aren't super crowded, where people are just trying to get in a couple of points that people will remember. Having a smaller field does leave room for some of these other candidates to really make a splash. It would be premature at this point to say, that Tudor Dixon has it in the bag by any means. We've clearly seen that this race can change very quickly, and I do think, continuing to see, just what these newly potentially disqualified candidates, depending on what the Supreme Court does, what they end up doing if they do decide to, launch write-ins or potentially continue to try and contest this somehow. But I think it's a fresh, a completely different ballgame than it was even a week ago.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little easier for the people to focus in on these 5 candidates. What are their message? 10, that was too many. I mean, that's like a Kentucky Derby, and it's too many. If they remain off the ballot, that narrows the field. You can focus better. You can sort of articulate who stands for what, and which one might stack up better against Gretchen Whitmer coming down the line. There have been people already that have said, a female-to-female race with Tudor Dixon and Gretchen Whitmer might be a very interesting race, might turn out to be Gretchen Whitmer's greatest challenge. By the same token, you got some businessmen in this race. Kevin Rinke, you still have some people in this race that have some money behind them, so a whole lot can change between now and